Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about the run descriptions in the chart book. We'll sort of show on the field where they go, and we'll also talk about some of the fielding positions as well. Now, this video, as I said before in the last video, this video here is not something that you need the knowledge of to be able to play international cricket from Lambourne games, but it will give you a little bit more, I guess, narrative, and you'll be able to imagine in your mind exactly what's going on out there. Okay, so this right here is the field, and it's got a list of all the different fielding positions that a fielder could stand in the game of cricket. There is 11 players on a team, so you obviously have one bowler and you have one wicketkeeper who are always going to be there. So you have 9 other players that can fill any of these positions. So if you have, maybe you just started the innings, you might have a lot more players behind the wickets to catch edges. You want to be aggressive, you might have a lot more players inside to try and get wickets. These positions inside here are called catching positions. But as the innings goes on, you will then start to move players outward a little bit. And then if the batsmen are really on top and scoring a lot of runs and you're not getting any wickets, then you have a lot of players around the boundary. In one-day international cricket, the 50-over type, you will generally not have too many catching. You'll have as many as you can generally out on the fence, stopping the boundaries. So there might be like 50 positions there, but you can only choose 9 as a captain in cricket to place your fielders there. In international cricket, you don't have to do it. Fielding works a little bit differently, and we'll talk about that in another video. But this just shows you that you can have different types of fields. Some are more aggressive for the bowlers, and some are more defensive. Some where you have a ring around the boundary of fielders are very defensive, whereas some where you have a lot of fielders in here are going to be quite attacking. And for most of the time, the captains will be very balanced in their field placing. But if there is a lot of fielders inside the circle, it'll mean there's a greater chance of an out or getting out, but a much greater chance of scoring runs as well, because there's going to be a lot more gaps in the field out here. But if there's fielders on the fence, there'll be less of a chance of getting out, and you can hit the ball into the outfield for easy singles or twos. If there's more fielders on the fence, less chance there's going to be a boundary. But if there's more fielders in the circle, more chance that once you get it through, it's going to go to the boundary for 4 runs. So different ways to attack, I guess, as a fielding team. And depending on how the fielding team is placed in the field, can also indicate how you're going to approach batting, how aggressive you're going to be. If there's a lot of fielders in here, you might want to be quite aggressive, hitting it over and into the outfield for 4. Whereas if there's fielders on the boundary and you try to do that, you might get caught on the boundary and you might get out. But in international cricket, there's obviously these charts. And if you see down here, you've got different shot types like hook, cut, square drive, turned off the pads, push onto the onside. We have defensive, we have off drive and cover drive. We have a lot of these different shot types. So, say for instance up here, you had a short ball and you hooked it for 4. We're going from a right-handed batter's perspective. So a hook shot here, the bowler would come in and bowl. He would hook it behind this line somewhere. So somewhere in here, and it would go all the way to the boundary for 4. Okay. So if you were saying on a bouncer and it said hook for 2, it would still be a shot in the same area, but it just wouldn't get to the boundary. You would then run 2 runs before it gets to the boundary. For a cut shot, that's a shot we hit on our on the offside. So the batsman's leg side is this side, the batsman's offside is this side. So he would hit it, he would cut it, and a cut is generally on a line or behind. So he would cut it somewhere in here for 4 runs or 2 runs or how many runs it comes up on the thing. So a cut shot is going to be behind. Hook shot is this way. What have we got here? We've got a square drive off the back foot. So a square drive is a drive. This is going to be on our offside, and that's going to be a drive that comes sort of around here somewhere square. They call in a line with you square. So you've got deep square leg on the onside, and then you can hit a square drive on the offside that way, somewhere very square to the wickets. What have we got there? Turned off the pads. Now your pads are on your legs, so your legs are on your leg side. So you basically get the ball on your pads and you hit it somewhere in here and you get a few runs. You can obviously turn it off your pads all the way to the boundary if you hit it well enough, but it's basically generally dropping it somewhere in here off your legs and running. Push to the onside, very similar. So you're pushing it somewhere in here on the onside. That was for a single, so you probably just push it somewhere in here where there's no fielder and you get 1 run. Steered past gully. Now the gully is over here, so basically you're hitting the ball on the offside down somewhere in here and you're getting a single. Now maybe that's going to go all the way down to where third man is, or maybe the gully is just going to run over and grab it, but by the time he gets that, you've completed a run already. Push into the covers. So the cover region is over here, and that one was for 1 run. So you're pushing it in here where there's a vacant field, and one of these other fielders will have to come over and get it, and they're just running 1. Okay, so come up to good length. We got push wide of mid-on. So mid-on is up here. It's more straight. So an on-drive. So you're probably going to drive it somewhere just wide of him up here, and you're going to get 1 run. Pull to mid-wicket up the top here. Now where's mid-wicket? There's mid-wicket there. So if he hits a 4 through mid-wicket, he's going to hit it to the boundary over here. Now there might be a mid-wicket there. You can see short mid-wicket there, and mid-wicket and deep mid-wicket. So mid-wicket is kind of there. You're going to hit it through there somewhere to get your runs. Offside push is basically you're just pushing it somewhere in here and getting a run. Now, let's have a look at over pitch balls. We've got a lofted straight drive, an off drive, a cover drive, on drive. So let's have a look at some of those. A lofted drive, and that one was for 6 runs. So the batsman is the bowler will run in, the batsman will hit it straight, he'll loft it over the field, over the fence, and that's 6 runs. If you want to hit an on drive, you're basically hitting it straight down here, past mid-on hopefully, but sometimes to mid-on, and generally if there's no long on, if you beat mid-on, it goes for 4 a lot of the time. An off drive, exactly the same. You want to get it past mid-off to score your runs. If there's a fielder down here, they only score 1 run generally, otherwise it might go for 4. If you want to cover drive it, you've got to drive it through the covers. If you beat the fielders in the cover area, so we've got cover point and extra cover, and there's no deep extra cover or cover sweeper, you're going to obviously get a 4. If there's fielders out here, you still might get a 4. It just got to be a very good shot to beat them. But obviously you can also hit the ball directly to cover as well and there'd be no run. We've talked about a square drive already. I'll just see if there's any other shots here that I can see. When you block the ball, you're blocking it for no runs. You're basically just hitting it on the pitch or just off the pitch. So when you're defending very close to that. If you were to duck, you would duck here and the ball would go through to the wicket keeper. Okay, if you are to, let's see if we've got withdraw the bat. The ball is bowled, you're thinking about hitting it, but no, you think, no, I'm not just going to leave it. So you lift the bat and let the ball go through directly to the wicketkeeper. So that's generally going to be a ball outside the off stump, no chance of hitting the wickets. So you let it go to the wicketkeeper. Generally, it might be a good length ball or something like that that you just leave. Or maybe it's a ball that's swinging and you're not sure, so you just want to leave it. So I think that sort of covers a lot of it. So basically, if we have a look at that original chart that we had with the different shots, if you drive it, you can drive in these areas. If you pull the ball in these areas, you cut the ball in these areas, and that's sort of how it works. But depending on where the fielders are in real cricket, it'll depend how many runs you get, either 0 or none. 0 or 1, 2, 3, 4 runs, or whether you get out caught. So that's how the sort of field placement works. As I said, in international cricket, you don't have to worry about placing these fielders where they are. But just so having a chart like that, and you can download one from online if you want to know, you can sort of see where the cover drives go. And when you hit a cover drive, if you put these two charts together, you hit a cover drive over here. Who are the fielders here? We've got cover point, we've got cover sweeper, we've got extra cover, we've got deep extra cover. So you can see which fielders in a real game would be fielding if you get one of these results. So that's just a little bit of hey, this is what a shot looks like and this is where it goes.